Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're unpacking the fascinating origin story of an absolute YouTube animation empire. But, what's truly remarkable here isn't just the sheer scale of the success, it's how it was actually built. We're going to explore how Robert James Rallison, who you probably know better as TheOdd1sOut, constructed a multi-million-dollar franchise by leveraging his most awkward, vulnerable, and honestly downright bizarre personal details. Okay, let's dive into this right out of the gate with one of the most unexpected and wacky internet rumors surrounding James. For years, parts of his fan base have genuinely wondered, is the Odd Ones Out actually a furry? Now, most creators might shy away from a rumor like this, right? Or just ignore it entirely to protect their perfectly polished brand. But as you'll see, James is definitely not your typical creator. So, fans eventually discovered that James actually owned a partial fursuit. And instead of hiding it or getting super defensive, he leaned entirely into the weirdness of the whole situation. He openly created content explaining that he bought the suit as a joke. He even went as far as introducing his very own fursona, a character named Chip. I mean, the guy has visited a furry convention in person and another one in Minecraft. By addressing this absolutely insane personal detail head-on, he completely disarmed the rumor mill and just kept viewers eagerly watching to see what he'd possibly do next. Which brings us to this absolutely iconic quote. In his video titled Our Cats, James dropped this line, "I'm bisexual for animals." Now, context matters here. He immediately questioned the way he said it, clarifying that he simply meant he likes both cats and dogs equally. But here's the genius part. He deliberately left that awkward slip-up in the final edit. He knew perfectly well how it sounded and exactly how it fueled the furry rumors. This right here is his superpower, an absolute willingness to be transparent, self-deprecating, and vulnerable about his odd life. And that willingness to put his quirks on display didn't just start with YouTube. It's literally baked into his origins.
Section 1. Hustling from comics to YouTube.
And this brilliantly illustrates his early grind. Just look at the number 100. Back in 2012, when James was posting his very first webcomics on Tumblr, he had virtually no audience. None. He was posting all the time but getting zero traction, to the point where he seriously considered just throwing in the towel. He literally had to draw and post exactly 100 comics just to earn his first 100 followers. That is the true definition of hustle. Tracing that timeline back, it all started in 2012 when a 16-year-old James got a Bamboo Create drawing tablet for his birthday. Over the next year, he experimented a ton, eventually settling in 2013 on his signature, simplistic, marshmallow or bubble art style. He was taking inspiration from other creators like Loading Artist, and because he kept at it, pushing through that initial brick wall, he reached 50,000 Tumblr followers by 2014. That dedicated audience gave him a massive springboard. When he launched his YouTube channel that August, he gained 1,000 subscribers on his very first day.
Section 2. Hacking the animation algorithm.
But listen, getting on YouTube and surviving on YouTube are two entirely different beasts. Around this time, animation channels were actually dying out. The old YouTube algorithm pre-2011 favored videos with high view counts. This was fantastic for animators making short 1 to 2 minute, highly shareable clips. But post-2011, YouTube totally changed the game. The new algorithm prioritized watch time and upload frequency. So if you were an animator spending, say, 3 to 5 months making a beautiful 2-minute video, you were suddenly at a massive disadvantage. The platform simply stopped recommending your work. So what did James do? He engineered a brilliant, strategic solution to beat this algorithm. First off, those simple white bubble characters, they weren't just an artistic choice. They were a survival tactic. Minimal coloring meant way faster production. He used a lightweight drawing software called Paint Tool Sci and edited everything really simply in Adobe Premiere. Because he didn't need a massive team of animators for complex motion, he could pump out content consistently. And most importantly, he began stretching his runtimes to that absolutely crucial 8 to 10 minute mark, perfectly satisfying YouTube's new demand for high watch time sessions. Now, what's really interesting about this slide is we can pinpoint the exact moment this strategy paid off. In early 2016, James uploaded a video titled My Thoughts on ASMR. The video was strategically long, 9 minutes and 38 seconds. Before this video dropped, he was averaging about 15,000 views a day. Afterward, an explosive 10x growth, rocketing to 150,000 views a day. That single video jumped his subscriber count from 20,000 to over 100,000. It was official. He had cracked the code.
Section 3. The Soupway Storytime Explosion.
But cracking the algorithm was only half the battle, right? He still needed content that actually kept people watching, and he found it in the most mundane place imaginable. Just a month and a half after his ASMR hit, he uploaded an animated story about his real-life job working at a sandwich shop. The viral success here is just staggering. In a single month following that first Subway upload in March 2016, he gained 300,000 subscribers. His entire channel leaped from 6 million to 30 million total views. To put that into perspective, it took him a year and a half to reach his first 15,000 subscribers. Now he was capturing hundreds of thousands in mere weeks. It sparked a multi-part series that contains some of his most popular videos to date. Actually, a quick point of clarification here, because there is a huge fan misconception about this. People have long assumed James intentionally misspelled it as Subway to avoid copyright strikes or maybe to distance himself from the Jared Fogle scandal that was happening at the time. But James admitted that wasn't the case at all. He wasn't even big enough to be sued back then. Subway was originally just a joke name so he could refer to it as a small local sandwich shop before a comedic reveal. He only kept using it later on to avoid copyright issues once he actually got famous. And honestly, his Subway content perfectly proves that his absolute best material comes from his willingness to share those really embarrassing personal moments. Take his final Subway video as a prime example. He tells a story about being in crunch mode on a video and taking his dog, Floof, to a local Subway. He walks in holding Floof. The employee asks if Floof is a service dog. James honestly says no. The employee says, well, he can't be in there due to health codes, but I'll make the sandwich quick. So James orders his footlong ham on white, and right as the employee is speedily making it, Floof jumps up and pees directly on the olives. It is a mortifying, hilarious story, and James just serves it right up for millions of people to laugh at. Let's move to section 4 and see how this builds. Expanding the Oddballs empire. Those quirky, transparent, animated stories were really just the foundation. Just look at the empire James has built today. He currently sits at over 18.7 million YouTube subscribers with a mind-blowing 4.3 billion views. He co-created and starred in Oddballs, an animated series on Netflix that dropped in 192 markets worldwide. He launched massive Kickstarter hits like the Cafe Chaos card game. He's written multiple New York Times best-selling books. This is an absolute juggernaut of a franchise. And it was all built by a kid who dropped out of college to draw marshmallow people talking about existential dread and peeing dogs. So what does this all mean for us? What can the next generation of creators, or frankly anyone, learn from his playbook? James Rollison didn't succeed by being flawless or by creating highly polished, impersonal art. He succeeded by embracing exactly who he is. Whether it's playfully leaning into those wacky internet rumors about owning a fursuit or animating the embarrassing mistakes of a fast food job, his vulnerability is his greatest asset. It really makes you wonder, how much stronger could our own connections be if we stopped trying to be perfect and finally decided to just embrace our own weirdness? Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer. I hope you found this as fascinating as I did. Catch you next time.